Most business owners are making two very big mistakes when running ads. One, they're not running them, or two, they're running them incorrectly. In this video, I'll show you exactly how to run your very first Meta Ads campaign. In this video, I'll show you the exact strategies I use to help my client get 17 leads in just 1 week by only spending $160. Let's get right into the video. All right, so let's get right into it. How to set up your very first Meta Ads campaign that actually generates leads for your service-based business. And now this strategy can go with any service business, whether it be detailing, landscaping, roofing, tree removal, etc. So, the problem that most businesses have that when they're not running ads is that there's no control, no predictability, and no scaling to just referrals and word of mouth. And what I'm going to be walking you through is just, how to set the correct campaign objective, target audience, making the actual ad creative, and then lead capturing without a website. So first thing first, you want to choose the correct campaign objective. A lot of people, when they run ads, they just put it into, for example, a traffic campaign or an engagement campaign, and that is not what you're supposed to do. You're not really going to get actual conversions. The one that you want to do is leads with an instant form. When you do that, you can have an instant form to where it'll capture the leads information and it'll go straight to you, and you can contact them through there. Yeah, see, so if you run a traffic campaign, you're just finding people who are clicking links, and awareness is just optimizing for impressions. And like I said, lead generation campaign is finding people who are in your area and who are most likely to submit their info. And then when you want to build your audience, you want to do an 18 to 30 range, I believe. Whoever you're targeting, homeowners, younger homeowners, older homeowners, it doesn't matter. You can select that and filter that down to the exact age range that you want. And then when you go to detailed targeting, you can add interests and behaviors and all that stuff. And then if you go to locations, you can filter that with zip codes, and then you can also filter it with a radius around your service area. So it's not more so just everybody. You can filter it into different radiuses. So for example, if you're in Dallas, you can do a radius around Frisco or Dallas and Highland Park area, or you could do it all around Dallas to get a broad perspective of people coming in. Then when you're writing the actual ad copy, you want to do some sort of before and after picture or a before and after video, or even a video that just shows the business owner doing the actual work and maybe speaking into a mic. Or maybe with a little voiceover or something like that will explain the offer and explain who they are and what they specialize in. And you see right here, we go over a bad ad and a good ad. A bad ad would be something like, we offer professional tree removal services in the greater Charlotte area, family owned and operated since 2015. Call today for a free estimate. That is terrible. You're not really explaining why they should even book with you. A good ad would be something like, and it doesn't even bring out any emotion into them wanting to stop and click the link. Something like a good ad would be something like the dead tree in your backyard isn't going to remove itself. We'll take it down this week, licensed and insured, and trusted by 200 plus Charlotte homeowners. Tap below for a free quote in 60 seconds. That tap below for a free quote in 60 seconds, that can be any sort of offer that you can also add the offer into the actual ad itself. Tap below for a free quote in 60 seconds and get 10% off your very first tree removal, for example. Something like that. Because in the first ad, you didn't even explain why they should even book with you, really. Yes, you said that, they've been family owned and operated. You didn't bring out the emotion into it, nor portray your offer. And now, next thing up, lead capture. You want to build an instant form that captures their name, phone number, and zip code. And you can also put qualifying questions into the actual lead form, asking about what service they want, where they're located, for example, city, zip code, etc. And then other qualifying questions that pertain to the service that you're selling. For example, if you're doing tree removal, how big is the tree? Is it in a yard? Or some stuff like that, if that makes sense. Super simple. And then finally, you want to set up a budget. Now for ad spend budget, I recommend around $20 to $30 a day starting. That'll give you enough information and to see what's working and what's not. You can probably I like to do 2 separate ad sets and with 2 to 3 different ads each ad set. Although I know a lot of people like to put it in one whole campaign, one ad set, and then just put all the creatives in. But what works for me is to just do 2 to 3 ad sets, however many, and just differentiate them by the type of video, whether it's a video ad or a photo ad. So I'll put video ads in one ad set and then photo ads in the other, and then divide the total ad spend you want to spend per day into each ad set. So let's say we're doing $20. You can do 2 ad sets at $10 each, or if you're doing 3, you can do, what is that? Or 4, sorry, you can do 4 ad sets, 5, 10, 15, 20. So yeah. And then also you want to give it at least a couple, like a week to, so that Meta can learn what's working and what's not. Within the first 2 hours, first 2 days is just going to be data collection. You're not really going to get much performance. And then don't touch it early. Don't touch any mistakes. Just let it learn, basically. And then what this would look like in practice is, we ran an ad campaign for another home service business where we generated them 17 leads at a $9 cost per lead with $153 total ad spend for the week. And and this was within a week. We reached 5,500 homeowners, and at $70 to $170 per job, just closing 1 or 2 of those 17 leads, that can pay for the entire campaign itself with profit left over. And some common mistakes that will burn your budget is having a wrong objective, targeting too broadly, editing too early, not having a fast website, and then having slow follow-up. This is the one that I stress the most. Speed to lead is key with running ads. Because if you run an ad, right, for example, you run an ad and, lead comes in, they, put in a request for more information. You respond to them 2 hours later, they're not going to fucking remember what they put a request in for. So it's best you respond within like a minute to 30 seconds to a minute the lead comes in, so that you can reach them and contact them and talk to them about, when they want to have the service, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if you want us to do this for you without all this headache, we're not on a retainer-based system, so you're only paying per qualified lead, and the full campaign would be done for you. Your ad creative setup, full campaign, full targeting, and then leads will be directly delivered to your phone via email or notification on the Meta Ads website.